Daniel, how does it feel to extend your contract and know that you will be in Nashville for at least 2 years, potentially 3 if that contract gets extended?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm excited to help Nashville build something special here. I've been seeing it the past couple of years, and well, more commitment by myself to the team, show what I can do, and fight for better things during the season.
Thank you, Daniel. Similar question for you, Coach. Daniel was the very first player that the club brought in Major League Soccer. What does it mean to extend his contract through 2022?
Well, for all sorts of different reasons, it's very, very pleasing that we've been able to get a new deal finalised, and we've got Daniel here for the future. You know, in terms of what he brings for the team, his finishing, I believe, is as good as anyone, if not the best in the group. He's proven that at both levels, USL and MLS, that he's more than capable given the opportunity and when he's in and around the penalty area. He's a fantastic character. And if you look at the type of locker room and identity that we're trying to move forward and develop, Daniel's a very, very big piece of that. Shows all of those characteristics that such big foundational pieces for us. And of course, for the fans, there's fantastic continuity from USL, where he was incredibly successful in front of goal. I think still to this point, the only player to score back-to-back 20-goal seasons. And of course, they see him in all his glory in MLS now, and doing exactly the same thing in the very top echelons of soccer in this country. So I'm absolutely delighted, and I know the club and the fans will be too.
Thank you, Coach. So we will open now the floor for questions, and we will begin with one from Dre Hills with the Tennessean. For you, Coach, and for you, Dan. Actually, it's only for you, Coach. How about Daniel?
Yeah, Gary, in regards to Daniel, what's the privilege of being able to have someone of his caliber across USL and MLS lines, where he was able to come into the group and you were able to establish a relationship early on? What's the benefit of having that guy, especially at the striker position, and how Daniel has excelled in MLS? How has that relationship benefited just because of the longevity?
Well, first of all, I think you can see now that Daniel, whilst playing in USL for us and for Carolina before that, was really, you know, a top flight player. The goals that he scored, the way he led the line, and what he was capable of achieving at that level was far, far better than you know, the standard that he was playing at. And we're seeing that now in MLS. As far as the connection and understanding, you know, time offers the opportunity for Daniel to understand what I'm asking for the team. It gives Daniel the opportunity to build those connections and rapport with some of the other players around him. Admittedly, been a lot of changeover into the MLS group, but I think his appreciation of not just me and the group, but of course getting to grips with a brand new league and a language as well has been absolutely phenomenal. And he's an incredibly intelligent lad. I know he's on the you know, on the screen here now, and he should be blushing with all of these compliments. But you know, it's been terrific to have him for this period of time. And you know, my only hope is that, you know, we haven't seen the best of him. I'm sure that's the case. He's not even into his prime yet. And you know, I'm looking forward to Daniel really getting to grips with MLS and getting into double digits.
Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country with a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, similar to the one that Drake just asked, kind of the overall continuity not just from USL to MLS, but from last year to this year. How do you think that's going to help you guys as you go into your second year in the league?
Well, we've been in, I think we're just over a week now working together. And, you know, of course, it's only natural for me to sort of draw on last year and make those sort of judgments and connections from where we were at this point a year ago. And I've got to say, for many, many different reasons, we're in front of that point last year where we met in Tampa and the group first met each other. You know, lots and lots to try and contend with down at IMG last year. But as I look at the group, how they're working, the workload they're getting through, take a step back, and the work that they'd got through before, you know, we'd even stepped foot on the field together this year was phenomenal. And it's given us a great opportunity to really push on. And some of the work that we're achieving right now, I probably wouldn't have contemplated last year. I don't think the guys physically or you know, fluidly were capable of what they are at this point. And, you know, when we're looking at Louisville at the weekend, 11v11 competition games are always the acid test. And whilst, you know, we're not going to see exactly what we will come the start of the MLS season, I'm excited to see where the group's at. I'm excited to see a couple of the new players and how they fit into the group. And, you know, just overall excited to get the competition games moving.
Ben Wright with Broadway Sports with a question for you, Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel, I mean, first of all, congratulations on the new contract. Last year we saw you score 5 goals in under 1,000 minutes. Do you have any personal targets that you're trying to hit this year? Obviously, success with the team comes first, but what are you looking to hit this year?
Thank you for that. Yes, I have my goals for this year, and I set them to, like the coach said, double digits. I'm hope that I can score more than 10 goals this year. Last year was a good year, difficult year for us because of the pandemic and expansion team, but I think the work was good, and this year will be better. That's what I'm hoping for.
We have a question from Tom Boger with MLSsoccer.com for you, Coach.
Hey guys, thanks for doing this. Gary, I know that you guys have used multiple systems in past years, particularly so in USL, but just kind of looking at the roster and how it's kind of expanded, and as we sit here today with Daniel signing a new deal, I guess what is the likelihood that we're going to see, you know, different variations from you this year outside of, you know, your preferred 4-2-3-1, you know, maybe the 3 at the back, or, you know, the 2 up front?
Well, I think the last piece of that comment really sort of fits more than any, which is, you know, if we play with a back 3, there's a very good chance that we're going to end up with 2 centre forwards or 2 forwards on the field. Yes, there's a chance that we have or see more of what I would class as a plan B. I think more to the point, as you look at the way the roster's been built and added to this year, we've got some very, very good options in our attacking lineup. And I don't just mean through the middle of the field, out wide as well, which of course gives more flexibility to what we're capable of achieving. And it gives us, you know, more of an opportunity, more, you know, more sharpness, more I think engagement and competition in that area. So yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be averse to seeing 2 forwards on the field. If you look back at my history, I've always had 2 forwards on the field. Yes, the game's changed and we're evolving, but I'd certainly like to see that at certain points in the season. And we have the personnel to achieve that, I think, to a far better degree this year.
Tim Sullivan with a follow-up question for you, Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel, when you look at, I guess, having the stress of kind of figuring out the contract situation off your chest, looking at what looks like a more competitive striker group this year, how do you plan to improve yourself to ensure that you get as much of the piece of the pie playing time wise as you can?
Yeah, it's more competitive this year. So my plan is always the same. I have to prove myself in the training ground and during the games. The best way to prove it is to score goals. And the second things to do is whatever Gary asked me to do and whatever the teams need me to do. So anything like defensively, offensively, including scoring goals, is the best way to improve and to show that I'll be there to be the center forward.
Thank you, Daniel. We have another question for you, this time from Ben Dudley from MLS Now. And then if there are no other questions, we will close out today's media availability with that.
Thank you. Hey, Daniel, huge fan of your play in USL. I loved the goals you were able to score, especially that movie through against FC Dallas. What's a player that kind of as you were growing up, who did you model your game after?
I love Ronaldinho. I love the way he enjoyed the game, how he changed it, and how he was not only like too serious. He just enjoyed. You can saw him when he was playing, dribbling guys, scoring goals. And also, well, now Cristiano Ronaldo, the way he scored goals, and with the age, he improved his game. Not like in the beginning when he was starting. Now he scored a lot of goals. So he's the role model for me.
We do, in fact, have one more question. Just a reminder, this is the one and only opportunity that we'll get to talk to Coach before the Louisville game. So we are going to welcome a question from Dean Sullivan for you, Coach, about that.
Yeah, Gary, what are you looking forward to this weekend in terms of either getting work done, or are you looking for a result against Louisville and then seeing that they've already handled an MLS team? Do you have a little worry that they're going to be maybe more competitive than your average USL side?
Listen, I think Louisville always are. They're an incredibly good side. We probably know more about them than anyone. If anyone does, then it will be Cincinnati, who they've just played. But let's keep in mind that we have a very changed roster to the one that competed in USL. That doesn't detract from what they are capable of, which is always very, very difficult. My big hope is that the weekend, first game, first run out for everyone, it offers the opportunity for all of the guys to get good competition, to get some good minutes under their belt. Everyone comes through it healthily. We see some encouraging signs. Are we going to see the finished product? Not at all. But I think at this point, whilst we want to compete and we should be competing, the old adage of there never is a friendly game could not be more true against a team like Louisville. But, being healthy and getting ourselves on the plane to Florida in good shape and ready for some good games down there as well would be a big box for me to tick.
Ben Wright with a follow-up question as well.
Yeah, Gary, just in terms of workload at this stage in preseason, are you looking to have two groups play 45 minutes each, or what kind of shifts are you looking for?
We'll end up with, it's going to be a 3-30-minute game. So, we'll have the majority of the guys play for just 30 minutes as part of their progress. And there'll be a sprinkling of individuals that probably take on 45 minutes. And that's to really try and compensate, one, for where certain, physical and aerobic levels are at. And of course, secondly, for a lot of guys to just dip their toe in the competition again. There's been plenty of good work that goes on in training, but nothing replicates playing against another team, and especially a good one. So I'm certain it will be a tough encounter. The result against Cincinnati tells us that they're in a good place, Louisville. We had a really good game against them last preseason, and I would expect nothing less.